Right now, they want to welcome to the program from the Buckeye State, Linda Walker with Buckeye Firearms Association. Linda, good evening. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Cam?
Excellent. Thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Anytime, sir.
All right, a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's start with, I guess, the legislation that we're starting to see in Ohio. A couple of bills going on, right?
Yeah, the notification or removing the notification from the if you're in a traffic stop or an encounter with a police officer, if you're carrying, you have to notify in Ohio, and so that legislation is running, which was spurred from our famous officer Harless in Canton, the lack of notification from the person. So yeah, we're working on that.
All right. I mean, and you know, I've got to think, Linda, that with the number of right-to-carry holders that we've seen increase in Ohio over the past couple of years, not to mention the number of reforms that you all have been able to pass over the last couple of years, that this is translating into more interest among Ohioans to become gun owners themselves. I saw a story from, was it the Dayton Daily News, talking about gun ownership rising among women.
Yeah, well, it had come out yesterday, this report, and I had actually done the interview with the reporter probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and I didn't know it was going to be so extensive until it had come out yesterday. But across the country, there's been a big increase of ladies getting their concealed carry license, buying guns, getting into the shooting sports. And, you know, when he called me, he wanted a definitive reason why this is happening. And there is not a definitive reason, but there's a lot of components that are going into this equation. You know, I think the political climate, with the economy, you know, crime has gone up. In Ohio, there's been a lot of home invasions, and they're not happening just in the inner cities. They're happening in the rural areas also.
Right.
So a lot of people are concerned about that. You know, I think women have figured out that, you know, they can't rely on their husband, boyfriend, or a police officer to be there to protect them 24/7. So women are taking it into their own hands. And as an instructor, you know, we run about a third women in our classes typically.
Right.
And the word that I repeatedly hear from women is empowered. They now feel empowered. And, you know, being able to carry a firearm and having your own self-defense, it's a great equalizer, I guess. You know, I know as a woman, my capabilities of fighting off a man, regardless of what his age are, well, my capabilities aren't great there.
Well, no, I mean, but, you know, as we saw in Ohio, and was it in Toledo or was it in Dayton recently, where there was the woman who was coming out of the bank and the registered sex offender, or the guy with the criminal history tried to force her into her car and abduct her, and she was able to defend herself with her gun.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't her physical strength that was able to force that guy off of her. It was the fact that she was armed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you see this trend continuing in Ohio then, Linda?
Oh, I hope so. I hope across the nation. And, you know, I don't see it reverting. There's no reason why it would revert. So I think across the nation that the women getting involved in, you know, even the recreational sports of shooting. Shooting sports are the women are the biggest category of people who are new to that sport. So, you know, and now since I'm on the NRA board, you know, I'm on a mission also to get more women involved in the Second Amendment as a whole.
Right.
Not just as shooters, but embracing this whole movement. And it's pretty neat because you find that when a woman takes up this issue, especially if she's a wife and a mother, you know, if she takes up the issue, the whole entire family is going to take up the issue. We have a way of driving the family.
Well, and listen, I got to tell you, for folks who are new to the issue or who are interested, you guys have an event coming up. And by the way, for folks who are already gun owners as well, the 2012 Buckeye Bash is coming up next weekend. What's this all about?
It is. There's 2 events going on in Columbus next weekend, February 11th and 12th. Buckeye Firearms Foundation is hosting the Buckeye Bash, which we are very excited that past president of the NRA, Sandy Froman, is our keynote speaker. And we will have dinner, and we've got auction items, live and silent auction. We've had some pretty nice guns donated to us. And it's going to be a very large crowd. We're very excited. And, just the fellowship of being amongst, several hundred gun owners is wonderful. And let me say, too, we've got to cut off reservations tomorrow night on this for the caterer.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, go to BuckeyeFirearms.org. It's right there at the top of the page, and you can sign up right through there. Now, our bash is being held in conjunction with the first ever Second Amendment Freedom Conference. A gentleman named Bob Thomas is hosting this event, and it's going to take place Saturday and Sunday. He's got several breakout sessions scheduled. He's got Chris Serono, one of the Top Shot winners. He's a speaker. Tim Schmidt from USCCA is going to be a speaker. And for further details, while you're on BuckeyeFirearms.org, look over to the right side of the page, and there's a click button on there to give the details for that event. And so we would encourage everybody in the Ohio area to come on out to Columbus next weekend and spend it with us.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a great time. Sandy Froman always gives such a wonderful speech. And, there's nothing like being surrounded by hundreds or thousands of your fellow Second Amendment enthusiasts, your fellow gun owners, your fellow activists. And, we're coming up for the NRA annual meeting in April in St. Louis, Missouri. But, this sounds like a really good preview, Linda, a really good way to, kind of get into that convention season.
There you go. And while we're having the event next Saturday, of course, we'll be pumping up the NRA annual meetings. And, I've been counting down the days till St. Louis.
I know.
Very excited.
It's very easy to do, too, by the way. If you go to nraam.org, we've got a calendar right there. So you can actually count the days.
Yeah.
And it's there for you. Hey, Linda, we're almost out of time, but thank you again for coming on the program. Have a great weekend, and have a fantastic time at the Buckeye Bash next weekend.
Thank you, Cam.